Hello. So I decided to do some cross stitching today instead of games. I mean, I know today's Friday and today's normally a gaming stream, but I just didn't really feel like it today. I haven't been feeling too great. So I thought, why not just do something kind of relaxing? So I pulled this old whip out. I mean, thank you for the lurk, Maggie. Yeah, we're working on Barbara Anna Designs free pattern light. And I checked my document that I use to keep track of all my projects. And the last time I worked on this was the 20th of January this year. So it's nearly been 7 months since I last touched this. I'm like, oops. I think it's because when I stopped working on this, I started the birth samplers, so that got pushed aside. So I was like, let's just bring this out. So I had to quickly take it off the scroll frame, so otherwise I wouldn't be able to work on it on stream. And I put it into a little frame. And I can see my stitches look a bit funny, and it's because it was in a scroll frame and the tension wasn't tight. But yeah. So we're going to work on this today for a while. Go from there, really. I have my needle minder I got from Mrs. Sadus when I got my silk threads. And it's actually a button, that's why it's got holes. It's a button that she turns into needle minders. So I'm just looking at pattern keeper to work out what the hell I'm doing. And I'm going to work on this part because this dress is ginormous. Like, you can see it in the preview picture here, how big this dress is. All that stars and that is the dress as well. So she's a big girl. Yeah, I want to apologise first of all for not being a stream Wednesday. Like I said earlier, I just haven't been feeling well. I think you're gonna see a repeating pattern with me. Like a few weeks before I'm due my next infusion, I think I'm gonna start feeling like this again. So I think that's what it is. I'm due an infusion in a couple of weeks. I think that's why I'm not feeling so great. So I will need to bring it up with my GI when I see them next, just so they're aware if they suggest anything. But other than that, yeah. I did do some drawing yesterday. I haven't posted it anyway yet because I was just not feeling great. And on my Patreon, I did post a free download for a phone and desktop wallpaper of my Cult to the Lamb fan art, or as I'm calling it, the Cult to the Frog. So if you want a desktop or mobile background, then head over to my Patreon. There's a link in the panels underneath the stream. You can also do !Patreon, or you can wait for the pop-up to appear, if it appears. That's people coming home. If you heard that, I'm not sure. Because just as my stream was starting, I heard a loud noise out the back, and I went to go see what it was because it sounded like either a firework or a car backfiring. But I couldn't see anything. So hell was that? But anyway. Yeah, I'm just gonna like, I don't know what I want to do with the schedule. Oh, that's the pop-up just appeared. So yay, it's working. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing about the schedule. I feel like I need to add more days, but I need to wait to find out what the hell is going on in regards to if I'm having a surgery or not, because like I've said, I don't want to increase my days and then I have to take a couple of weeks off and stuff like that. And if anyone's curious as to what fabric it's Fox and Rabbit. It's 32 count. I have like a bunch of hairs getting into this already. But they're really annoying because the fan's blowing them. So I can see them. Especially with them being grey cat hairs. And my fabric, or the thread I'm using, sorry, it's darker. It's gonna bug me. One sec. The tweezers are coming out to grab the hairs. Sometimes it's also the threads themselves getting fuzzy. I just use the tweezers over there. Oh, that hair's still that everything I have is covered in cat hair, like this grind guard. What's up with my needle? I might have to change my needle size. I swear this is the correct needle size for this. Yeah, this is Duxbury by Fox and Rabbit. I have the label, that's why I was just checking. Yeah, like the grind guard is covered in cat hair. Yeah, it's been in a drawer under my bed where no cat can get to it. So that's nice. Yeah, no, as I was saying, sorry. Yeah, I want to increase my schedule so I can add more variety to it, because if Mondays I'm working on one stitch along and then Wednesdays I'm working on another and then Fridays are gaming streams, it doesn't really leave me with a lot of time to do anything else without messing up my own schedule. And if I have to take a day off or whatever, then it also throws it into whack. So I'm just thinking, like, what's a good day to add? Like, do I have it all at the beginning of the week? Or the end of the week? I don't know. Now that label is just sitting in the way. Okay. You can poke out a little. My wrist is sore from trying to rush to get this set up. Yeah, this was one of the projects I started back when I got back into cross stitching. Yeah, the very first project I started once I got back in was actually caterpillar cross stitches. I think that's what it's called. It's the autumn one with the tree and the owl and the fox. I have the owl and the fox stitched on that. I might have to bring that back out because I want to make sure that that's actually stitched properly, because I was stitched now whilst recovering from surgery, and at the time I was on pain medication, and I'm wondering if I started it properly for a start, like whether or not it's gonna line up. So I like the fabric it's on. That's 36 count. Bee's Knees, I think, by Seraphim. I think the dye is called. I got it from Peakside Needleworks. It's also where I got this from. I might have a little break with my wrist in a second, and I'll show you the artwork I did. Just open up. I'll post the artwork in Discord and on the Patreon later. Or over the weekend, actually, because later I'll probably do a post. I don't know. So at some point this weekend, there will be a post or two. Because normally a Thursday would be my This Week on Twitch post. But I post what I've stitched Monday and Wednesday. But because I didn't stitch Wednesday, I didn't stream, it doesn't really make sense. Whereas if I do it tomorrow, I look at like, here's what I did. This is just me blabbing now. That's what I tend to do, it's just blab. And I'll post pictures of this in the Discord. I just can't believe the last time I touched this was January. This definitely has to stay out now. I have all the other ones as well. I have all the free ones that go with the... Why did I just put my finger down? I know the needle was coming up. Silly brain. As I was saying, I have all the other... I've got the needle in my other hand, far away now. I have all the other ones in this, what I call six. So I have this is light. And then, hang on, I have to bring up the file. Folder they're in. And I bought a new pattern today. I had an email from the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery about I had a voucher to use and it expires on the 20th and my birthday is the 21st. So as an early birthday present, I bought myself the Cozy Cat stitch log that they did, I think, last year. So I have that to do eventually. I have Midnight Way still. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, on the day that I pick to do these kinds of projects, I might have 2 days. So it might be like Monday is Lumi Sao, Tuesday is this, where I pick a project that's not a stitch along to work on. Wednesday will be the Witchy Stitches Sao until that finishes. And then maybe Thursday will be a Sao day. So like I pick an old stitch along that needs to be completed and I'll work on that. And then I can get everything that I want done. And I'll like work on the one project on that day until it's done, and then we'll spin a wheel just to pick the next. But anyway, I'm looking for Barbara Anna Designs. It's at the top there. So I have Autumn Squirrel, which came from a magazine, which I paid for. I have Light, which is this. I have Molly, which is a chicken. I have Trick or Treat, which was in a magazine but it's now a pattern, so I have that. I have The Key, which is a goose. And that That's all the ones I think from this series, as I'm calling it. There is another one which is a cat with lemons. It's called Lemon. I don't have that one yet. Maybe I'll finish all these and then decide. But yeah. I don't know why I put this away. I feel like I had plans to work. But I started a bunch of other things instead. Because that's what I tend to do. You know me. I tend to be like, oh, I'm gonna work on this until it's finished. And then give it a week and I'm like, so here's a new project I started. And everyone's like, what happened to it? Oh, I got bored. Yeah, I just got bored. I was like, I'd rather get bored with the project and put it away and forget about it and then come back to it and be like this and have a lot of fun stitching it, then stitch it the whole time until it's complete and then be like, said I forced myself to work on this and now I don't even touch anything. So I'm just using this stitch as my counter because I started this block. So I've done 3 rows, so 1, 2, 3. I'm trying to work it in sections because it's quite a lot of dress. What I should really do though is do the 10 by 10 block. So I'm just going to. And then there's this. And this isn't an even, this is a linen. So it has like imperfections and thicker lines. Which, as I've discussed in the past, is not my favourite, but I do like stitching over 2 compared to Ada though. So, right. Yeah, I was prepared to stream Cart of the Lamb today. I even like got the Twitch integration to work, and then sorry, I thought I didn't know. It's fine. And then I was like, I just don't feel like I have the energy to stream a game right now. So at least with stitching, I can chill. Which is nice, because sometimes you just need to chill. Like, I feel like my streams, the sort of streams you just have on in the background and just either watch and not really pay attention to what I'm saying, or you can just listen and not watch what I'm doing, or you can be stitching along with me. It's like a stitch along or a stitch with me video. I like watching them. When I was at the peak of my stitching in 2020, I would put a bunch of like stitchers who were doing stitch with me, even if they had no talking. It was just music or the sound of fabric. I would listen to that and just stitch along. And I'd have other videos on in the background, so I had something as well. And then I kind of fell off the wagon with a stitchy bug in last year. I shouldn't keep saying 2021 because it was only last year. And then, yeah. I kind of just stopped watching FlosTube. I stopped listening to Stitch with Me. And when I had my surgery, I didn't really have a lot to do, and I couldn't really focus on high energy videos because I was just so tired as well. And FlosTubes tend to have like this, I don't want to call them boring because they're obviously not to me, but they're calming. It's something I can easily listen to. And so I started watching them again. And one of the main ones I was watching was Michelle Bendy, I remember. Because we have a YouTube on our telly in the bedroom, because I couldn't sit at my desk, I would watch YouTube on my iPad all day, and then when my family would go to work, or my mum, because she sits up here with me, I would put YouTube on the telly. She'd come home from work, I'd let her have the telly back. But this one time I was watching Michelle Bendy's, I think it was her 2021 WIP parade. So that's where you go through everything you've worked on that year. And then they talk about their plans for like 2022. I just remember watching that whole video and being like, oh, god damn it, I want to get back into stitching. And then I did. Here I am now. Just sticking with the sweepy mentality. Stitch what you want. But I'm trying to like work on projects that when I want to that I do. So it's just trying to find a balance. I have enjoyed every project I've stitched. Otherwise there'd be no point in me stitching them. Like I know I haven't been working on gift one. That's because I'm trying to like not overdo it with them. Might as well just one to a thread. I like stitch that into another. And the scroll frame I was using this came with a stand, and that would hurt my hands and my arms because it was so tall. It's a lap stand. Why is my canvas like falling apart? Yeah, it was like a lap stand, so obviously you use it when you sat in like a big chair. But I use it at my desk because I thought it was easier. But this is easier. So already we've done 55 stitches today. Woohoo! Right, we've only got 1, 2. Get the rest of this block to do. I have one more block, or 2 more blocks, and then a tiny bit at the end. And then we'll come down to the next block. Colour. We have 1062 stitches of this colour in this dress left. And I don't remember if I was using my thread wax. I thought my stitching had changed direction. I was like, I don't think it has. But it hasn't. I don't know if I was using thread wax, sorry, in this part. Can't feel a difference. to get this thread ready, and then I'm gonna have to like get off my leg because it's starting to hurt. Never got drink. There we go. Oh, and if anyone cares about the weather situation that's been going on over here in the UK, it finally rained. I think it's rained the past couple of days. Because when I last spoke, which was Monday, I was saying that it was still quite hot and we were expecting rain. But it rained the day Tuesday. And it rained Wednesday. I can't remember if it rained yesterday. But it's cooled down. We're no longer in the high 20s. Or reaching the 30s. And this room has cooled down. So I'm like, oh, I still have a single fan on. I said I have the ceiling fan on too. We still have a couple of fans on. Just because sometimes I can get hot. But other than that, this is the kind of temperature I like. Like, according to what my computer is saying, it's actually 23 degrees outside. Whereas this time last week it was like saying it was 30. I also, when was it? Earlier on this week? Might have been Tuesday night, Wednesday. Like Tuesday into Wednesday. Because I had a break when I went to bed, obviously. I worked on a new PNG tuber model for Cold the Lamb. It only has the 2 expressions. Well, it doesn't even have 2 expressions. It has 1 expression. And I think it's adorable. Let me finish this photo and I'll show you, because I can just switch my PNG tuber model. Is that the tail? It was. It was inspired by Lumi Philippe's PNG tuber model that she was using during her playthrough of Cult of the Lamb. And so I was drawing. So like, watch my avatar change in just a second. Ready? Bonk! Back! Ha! Isn't it adorable? It's Leap as a cult leader. He's a cult leader. And if I just grab me, where's my PNG? There. If I just look, I have little legs. There we go. I'm like, oh, I love it. He's even got the little hat on and everything. I drew it in the style of Cut of the Lamb, but I based it off of like my style is that, like, that's why Leap looks like Leap, because this skin's not in the game. There's no cheap frogs. I did originally draw it so he had, instead of the cheeks, he had like the skin toned chin area. I don't know. So but I am really happy with how it turned out. But I'm gonna switch back to me now to say goodbye to the cult leader. Right. This one takes a little longer because I have more details in it. Like, I have extra expressions, whereas that one's just the one. That's why it was quicker to switch. Yeah. So we do get around to playing Cult of the Lamb. I might bring Leaf back. I just thought I'd show off because I was really happy. Actually, there is a way I could show the artwork off. Now I think about it, without having to open a program. Give me like 1 minute. I just want to show it off. Right. Ta-da! So these are my OCs. I just thought I'd share this. So obviously the one on the left, the frog is Lee, the cat is Milo. The girl, oh, and my caterpillar's there too. Caterpillar is there. And the girl with the blue hair in the pink jumper like thing is my OC Hoppy. She's a frog girl. She's adorable. I'm so happy with how it's turned out. This was for a drawing prompt. It's called August Adventures. And the prompt for this was home / Polaroid. So you could either pick one or the other, or combine the two. And I kind of combined the two. So it's a Polaroid. And it's pinned to their wall, which I think was cute. So that's why this is my friends, because it's like they're taking a picture together. I'm kind of imagining Milo, the cat, is taking the picture because his arm isn't showing. Or they had it on a tripod with a selfie stick thing. But yeah, so that's that. That took me a little while to do. Right. Back to this. So that's what I plan on posting as well. And that was the first week. I haven't worked on or sketched any others. I sketched it the other day on my iPad. Until I got to Hoppy and I was like, I can't draw people on an iPad. So I sent it over to myself so I could draw it on my tablet over here. And I wanted to colour it on my computer anyway, because I can use more layers than Procreate would have offered. But I'm like, oh, if I finish the series, I can turn it into prints from my shop, because I haven't got many prints on my shop. And all the print ideas I'm coming up with right now are for the memberships. So I need to come up with ideas to put in the shop. I'm also tempted to buy a planner pad so I can like work things out. I mean, I have ones that I've made myself that I could use instead. I don't know. I just get inspired by looking at other people's art and like coming up with my own idea. I do have one print I'm kind of working that I think I've discussed before, which is Hoppy in a bakery. Why is it knocking so much now? Dread, why? Why would you do this? Try to grab the right thread to undo the knot. I might be able to pull it through and fix it. Yeah. There we go. Simple. Yeah, that's kind of my plan. It's just to work out what I'm doing. But I'm just waiting for appointments and stuff to come through first, so I know what's going on. And then once I know, you'll all know, and then we can go from there, really. I do notice a difference though in terms of like my energy and things like that when I've had an infusion versus when I'm due for one. Because like the past couple of weeks I've actually streamed like every day I was meant to, and it was only this week that I took Wednesday off just because I felt so sick. And like lately I feel sick all the time, but it's normally like a niggle, so I can like ignore it. Wednesday it was just a constant thought, like it was always just there. Which was annoying. I don't know if it had anything to do with the weather changing so quick, or what, but because I don't cope well when the weather goes from like one extreme to another. So if it goes from really hot to cold really quickly, it upsets me. But if it goes gradually, it's alright. But I don't know. Started watching a new TV show yesterday on Amazon Prime. Well, it's technically on Discovery, but shit. It's, I can't remember what it's called exactly. It's either Beyond Reasonable Doubt or another name that I'm now forgetting. And it's like a true crime thing. And basically a retired detective and a practicing defense attorney, maybe not practicing but a defense attorney, look into cases where people think the person who was prosecuted was done so unfairly. So a family member might be like, oh well, because of his race it was like biased because everyone on the jury was a different skin tone and there was prejudice and stuff like that. So they'll look into it and be like, right, if we can look and if we can find that there's reasonable doubt in this case with the leads you've given us, so you give them like the leads and they'll look into it, and if they think that there is holes in the case, then they'll take it on and hope to get the person out of prison. And so far, none of them have been released. So far, every time they've come back after doing their little investigation, they're like, yeah, so they're in prison for the right reason. Like, they did it. There is beyond a shadow of a doubt that they did it. But it's actually really interesting though, because it shows you like how a lot of cases have worked. Well, I enjoy that sort of thing anyway, so I remember a couple of years back, me and my mum were watching a program called like Cold Cases, or it was about cold cases, where these two people would look at cases that were unsolved. They'd help with people back in prison for the crimes that they committed years ago. And it's a lot harder to solve a cold case because depending on how many years it's been, a lot of people, like a lot of key witnesses in the case, might have forgotten details. Where the crime happened, well, obviously there's no way to see the crime scene properly. You have to rely on photos and the case being detailed properly, and if that didn't happen, then you can't really help in that regard. But they would do it, and a lot of the times they did get people convicted. And it was a really good program. But I just enjoy true crime anyway, so it's just fascinating. I do find it funny though when the people in the one I was watching last night were like, there's no way he could have done it. He's not got a bad bone in his body. And the police or the investigation happens and they look at the evidence, they're like, oh no, he did it. Like, you can't sit there and say that even the nicest person could have a moment where they snap for whatever reason and can commit murder. Like, just because they're not violent all the time doesn't mean they're not capable. And under the right circumstances, I think anyone could snap. So I get wanting to say that someone's innocent because you've known them all their life. There's no way they could have done it because they were never violent, they never showed violent tendencies, but you don't know what's going on in their head. I mean, look at some of the prolific serial killers out there, like Ted Bundy. Everyone thought that he was a good-looking guy, and there was no way he could have committed the murders he did, but he did. And then, what's his name? Ed Kemper. He was buddies with the police, and they didn't even think he could do it. Even though when he was like 11, he shot and killed his grandparents. And then years later, he went out and he became the co-ed killer. And then he admitted to the police he killed his mum. And when the police was like, yes, I killed my mum. They were like, Ed? What? So you never really know what's going on. And there is a lot of evidence a lot of evidence to suggest that your upbringing can determine. Like, I'm not saying everyone, obviously, who is abused as a child will turn out to be a serial killer or anything like that, but a lot of the times they do. Like, I've heard plenty of cases where a person was abused into their childhood and went on to commit horrific murders. But again, I don't want to sit there and say, but everyone who does it. Because not everyone does. Some people have empathy, which a lot of serial killers are missing, obviously. But yeah, I don't know what it is, but true crime has always just fascinated me. I guess it's trying to understand why a person would go on to commit murders. And yet the Golden State Killer, who was in law enforcement, and committed murders, and it wasn't till what was it that caught him? I know it was his DNA. I'm not familiar with the case. I think it was like someone submitted DNA and they were a familial match, and it led them to be like, there's only one other guy in this family and it's him, and he was the Golden State Killer. And there was even pictures of him at his daughter's graduation. So he went on to be like a normal person, and nobody suspected otherwise. I mean, there's a reason why a lot of serial killers get up into the hundreds before they're even caught, and it's because they're good at blending in. Because if they weren't, they would have been caught a lot sooner. They probably would have been caught within the first one. And then there's this wild theory about a serial killer, or a group of serial killers, called the Smiley Face Murders. And it's where a bunch of college-aged men would go out for the night, and they'd end up being found in a body of water, and near that body of water would be a smiley face, like a graffiti smiley face. And it's like there's hundreds, and it's in states, and it's not just like one place. So people are like, is it more than one person? Is it a group? Because a lot of the murders happened, like, I don't know the time frame, but I'm assuming to get as many bodies as they have, you have to do it like within quick succession. I don't know. I could just go on all day about like, I remember being in school and my mum had a book that she would let me borrow, because in English we had to read a book before we started doing any work. Or sometimes we just have a quiet reading session. And I would take a book on serial killers and just read that. And I got some funny looks, and I was like, I don't care. I'm gonna read about the murderers. Enjoy it. Because like I've said this before, but I wanted to go into I wanted to become a forensic pathologist, but that didn't pan out. I could watch cases about serial killers all day, every day. I have a playlist on my YouTube, a private playlist that's just full of true crime cases. So I watch a few people who talk about them. And I listen to a few podcasts as well. Like I'm listening through the Crime Junkies podcast. Some of the cases, there's only ever been one case that's got to me. And I say got to me as in it made me upset. And it was a case of a girl around the same age as me, but the age I am now, not the age I was, because I don't think I was born when the case started. She had Down syndrome, and she was severely abused by her mother, to the point where she was starved to death. And she was wearing nappies because her mum couldn't be bothered to let her go to the toilet, so she put her in nappies. And when the police found her, she was kind of mummified, and she had feces all up her back because she had died, and she died in the fetal position. And it just really got to me because it was quite upsetting. Then there are cases that make my blood boil because the police are just incompetent and they let the real killer get away. Like, I was listening to a Crime Junkie podcast episode about, and I swear I'd heard the case before. I swear I'd heard it. And I was just like, But I might have been getting it mixed up with another case that was similar. And they thought the father did it at first. They thought that he killed his daughter and... Why? I'm very confused. Twitch, what is going on? Why are you playing another set of adverts? Is it playing another set of adverts? It just done adverts, I'm pretty sure. I don't. But anyway. So they suspected the father of killing his daughter and her husband, because it turns out that his wife, when she died, gave her half of the farm to her daughter because the husband, or the father I should say, wasn't very good with money. And so they suspected it was him, and then they found out that actually it might have been the daughter's ex, because he was a bit obsessed with her. Then they found out he was married and he seemed to have moved on. And I don't know how they got to it, but they ended up doing a search of his garden. Oh, it's because they found her body in a lake. They never found the husband, but they found her body in a lake because fishermen found it. And they looked at the bullets that they found inside her, and they matched a gun that the ex had. And I realise I'm probably telling this poorly, because I can't remember it, it's not as fresh in my head. And so they search the guy's garden, they find the gun. But the thing is, the bullets don't quite match the type of gun he had. And the forensic was a bit suspicious of the chief investigator, because he wanted to be alone with the evidence. So I was like, I'm just going to mark the evidence just in case something happens. And so it all ends up going to trial. We'll come back to the piece of evidence later. It goes to trial, and the ex is convicted of murdering the wife and the husband. And he starts appealing, being like, the investigation was botched, yada yada. And because he said that, they had to get a independent committee to reinvestigate the case. They look into it and they're like, yeah, it was botched. Oh, Sorry, I was just looking. Sorry, I hit the head mic. The next Witchy Stitcher pack came out with supernatural sound. It's an angel. Anyway, so they were like, yeah, the investigation was botched. Remember the bullet? Yeah, it was switched. The lead investigator switched evidence. So, because of that, the guy basically had his sentence appealed. And he was free to go. And in another investigation into the case, they found out that actually that guy probably did do it. But because they botched the investigation and forged evidence, they basically let a guilty man walk free. Because the bit of evidence that I said the forensics marked, well, when he re-examined, or a new forensic person re-examined that piece of evidence, the mark he etched into it wasn't there. Like, it was a very tiny mark, like you wouldn't be able to see with the naked eye, you had to see it under a microscope, so it wouldn't have interfered with the actual evidence. But he was like, that mark the other guy did isn't there. How did that happen? Oh, it switched. So yeah. So that's like an example of a case being botched. And this one, I listened to this one last night and it really confused me how this guy got charged with a murder to do this. So, sorry, I'm just switching again. This guy goes out of town on a business trip, and his wife and daughter are home. And they get murdered. The wife and daughter get murdered. And the guy's on this business trip. He comes back and he's distraught, as anyone would be if your wife and child have been murdered. And because this was a small town, they all came out and were like, he did it, the husband did it. And the police kind of like, no, this guy is innocent, he wasn't there, he has a solid alibi, he was out of town, there's no way this guy did it. And then months later, the police announced that they've arrested him. And everyone's like, huh? You just said he was a victim. He was innocent. How? And they were like, well, it turns out that his alibi wasn't as solid as he says it was. According to his cell phone records, he phoned his wife at like 5:30, which is earlier than their normal phone call time when he's out of town. And then they say his cell phone pinged somewhere nearby the house. And he also apparently, and this is the bit, these are the two bits I don't get. They determined that the wife and daughter died like a few hours after that phone call. So their theory is he drove, as soon as he got off the phone to his wife, he drove home, murdered his wife and daughter, and then got back in his car and drove back to the hotel to secure an alibi because he also had a sex worker coming. And I'm like, okay. And then they come out and say that he fiddled with the computer. I'm like, huh? According to the police, they were like, yeah, so the computer didn't turn off till about 10, yet they were dead by around 7. Which, how does that work? They were trying to say that he fiddled with the timestamp of when the computer turned on. Now, I don't know if I'm correct or not, but I'm pretty sure to change what time a computer turned off, you would need to turn it back on. You know, because when you turn a computer off, you cannot access any data on it anymore, right? So if you wanted to change a timestamp, you would need to turn it back on to change it. Because they weren't saying that it was like set to a time to turn off. They were saying that he changed a timestamp in the data that says it turned off at 10. And I'm like, how does that work? Like, I was like really confused listening to this. And then the theory about him driving back was that if he drove back at a normal speed, like the same speed he drove there in, he wouldn't have made it in time to get back to the hotel to secure his alibi. So he had to speed. And I'm like, hang on. If a guy's speeding, wouldn't the police stop him? Like, if he's going like a lot over the limit to race back to his hotel, wouldn't the police stop him? And then wouldn't they have a ticket or a thing in the system that says that he was, either ticketed or cited with a warning for speeding? And that would accompany the system to be like, well, he obviously was driving back because look, the police stopped him. So I was just very confused at how they got to this conclusion while still having other suspects. Now, in a case, you need to clear all your suspects. You can't go to trial and still have other people that you suspect of committing the crime. And so he ends up going to trial, and he is found guilty. And I was like, huh? And he starts appealing his case, and I'm like, yeah, I would too. And he finally, after 10 years, because they ended up taking his case to the UK, because this happened in New Zealand. And back when this case took place, New Zealand was still part of the United Kingdom. So they didn't have a Supreme Court. They came under our court, so they could ask us to look into the case. And so our court looked into and were like, yeah, give this guy a new trial, because this doesn't make sense, that doesn't make sense, and you've still got suspects, like you haven't cleared them out. So they go back to trial. So he's allowed out on bail, and he has to live in a house that they pick. So he ends up moving in with his sister and her husband, so his brother-in-law. And within 2 years, his case is sent back to court. And the time of death has suddenly changed, because the first examiner who looked at the case said that he could tell the time of death from looking at their stomachs and seeing how digested their food was. And because the food didn't have a distinct smell, he was like, yeah, they died shortly after eating, because their stomachs were full. But you have to take into consideration, you have to take into consideration what they ate, for one, and two, not everyone digests food the same, at the same rate. So you and I could eat the same food at the same time, and you could have yours digested within 8 hours, let's say, and I could still be digesting mine 12 hours later. So that doesn't really help with time of death. The way to tell for time of death is like, you look at the rigor mortis. Are they like really, really stiff? Or have they got blood pooling in their skin? Because if they've died and they've been there for a while, depending on the position of the body, they might have blood pooling. So when you die, you no longer have your blood pumping around you. It just settles in one spot. So if you're on your back, when you get rolled over, you might have like a big bruise looking thing on your back and your legs. Whereas if he died in a funny position, you'll have the blood cell in that funny position. But he didn't look at that. He didn't take a liver temperature, so he has no idea of how long they've been dead for. He literally just went off that one piece of evidence. And the funny thing is, he was called in the early hours of the morning once the bodies were discovered. It took him several hours to get there. Several hours after the bodies were discovered. He was just doing whatever he was doing. And there was no explanation. And then when he got there, he didn't even do any of those tests. And when he was asked why, it was, oh, I didn't want to get in the forensics way. But they've been there for several hours. They've done everything. Like, you need to do your thing now. But nope. And he even quoted an expert and said that this guy would agree with him. Well, the investigators went to that expert and he was like, yeah, I don't agree, because you can't determine it from that alone. He was like, that's just nonsense. So that didn't help. So when he went back to court, the time of death suddenly changed. It was no longer 7 o'clock. It was actually later. How? I don't know. And then they tried to say that he definitely edited the data on the computer, which again, I don't see how. But anyway. And the reason why he phoned early that night was because his wife would watch a show at 7 every night. And then once the show had finished, she'd lay in bed for a while and then she'd go downstairs and go on the computer, which she wouldn't come off until 10 o'clock. So she'd put her daughter to bed, she'd watch her show. Once the show had finished, she'd go on the computer and play games, and then she'd go to bed. And a witness said that the light was still on in the house at 10 o'clock. So, how did the guy do this again? How did he kill them at like 7? And get back and come back? Like, he would have had to have come back to turn the lights off and to turn the computer off. So how did he do it? And I don't get this. He was found guilty a second time. And he's due for parole this year. But I'm just very confused how a guy could be found guilty of doing the crime under those circumstances. Hello, Maggie. I was just talking about murder. So I started watching a new show last night. Yeah, I just don't get how a guy can be charged after the police ruled him out as well, and they didn't get rid of the suspects. Like, when they did the second trial, they didn't look into any of the suspects. Even though there was suspicion of the person who found the bodies being the one that actually did it, because his roommate said that he had a bloody towel, and when the police turned up at the scene of the crime, he had a mark on his nose. He had like a bloody nose, and they were like, how did you do that? And he was like, oh, my cat scratched me. But both the mother and the daughter had defensive wounds, and they never tested for DNA. They never tested anything. So oh, and the motive for the husband killing his wife and daughter was because he was in $2 million worth of debt. and his wife's life insurance policy was for 500,000. They were going to get it up to 1 million for both of them, but because he was pre-diabetic, he wasn't entitled to have better life insurance. But here's the thing, the motive doesn't work, because when the crime was committed, the forms hadn't gone through, so he wouldn't have got the 500,000. And he knew that it hadn't gone through, because you'd get notified when your life insurance goes up. So why was he killing his wife and daughter for 500,000 that he wasn't going to get? Makes you think. Do this section and I'll move on to the because it sounds like a meme song. We might have to come back up backwards. Like, rather than ending the thread down here and then coming back down, we might have to go back up. This fan is blowing like bits that's coming off of this fabric, and it's going straight up my nose. Sorry about those cat hairs. that's coming out of the grind guard and stuff. It's hairy. It's not in the back. Just myself again. What am I doing all the way over here? There we go. Dark on the dress. It's a little harder for my eyes to see the holes, but because you can't see the holes, the fabric, you can see the star. But it is a nice fabric to work with. I think it helps because all the other projects I've been working on lately have been higher counts, so the holes have been a lot smaller. Like the witchy stitches on 40 count, and the Lumi Sal is on 36 count. Whereas this is 32, so the holes are a lot bigger. So it's just a nice change of pace. I'm alright, Monkey. Thank you. I feel better than I did Wednesday. How are you? And I have to get a new thread shortly. making some good progress on this dress. We're probably not going to get it done in today's stream. Seeing as we're nearly 2 hours in and we still have 899 stitches of this colour to go. But breaking it down into a smaller section is helping. Not as daunting now. Might have to take a quick break here shortly. Do have an ad break, like 17 minutes, but I think we'll take a break before that. So what I'll do is I'll do this row, and then I'll go on a quick break. Whilst I'm taking my break, you should all get up and go for it. Get yourself a drink or a snack, or take any medication if you need to take meds right about now. It is very important to stay on top of all that. Tighten over that. There we go. Yeah, so my plan, just quickly for this weekend, is to post the artwork I finished, post about what I've done this week on Twitch, and that's it really. Probably stitch on other things. And go from there. And then Monday we're back to the planned schedule. The end of this row. This is a stitch. Right, I'm going on a quick, I want to say 5-minute break. Hopefully no longer than that. Just going to move this out of the way. There's a thread on it. Put a paw in it. So you just get to get to my desk for a second whilst I search to look at my back screen. Right, I will, like I said, be right back. I'm back. Ta-da. Oh, earlier I also made a bunch of my VODs and highlights. So those are on the channel. Because VODs only last, I think, 30 days. I just need to add the Resident Evil one to the Resident Evil collection. I need to figure out how much we have left of that for Claire's run. So then we know how long it will take before we start the Leon run. Because after Leon we start through. Should have done that half stitch. That's why it was jump. do like how the colours this top has. I can't remember what the pattern recommends for this, because sometimes people will test stitch it and the designer will recommend a fabric, but I just picked this nice brownish tannish fabric and I think it suits it really well. Makes the dark brownish colour pop a bit more. Sorry, that's pretty good. And then we forgot a stitch down below. Starting to get back into like solid-ish art. Why is this thing not in sync? I have two more pieces of fabric, I think, by Fox and Rabbit. One of them's a 40 count, and I think the other's a 36 count. And I was going to use it for a black work, but now I have the Pride piece by Modern Soul Corridor that on it. I think the colours would really pop off the... It's like a really dark grey, it's not quite a black fabric. I do like it. Well, that's not what... Oh no, never mind. Ignore me. I just hadn't marked what I've done off. There we go. I have some really nice fabrics that have been kitted up with projects. Like I was talking about earlier, but the others in this, what I call a series. One of them is this really nice bright blue. Well, it's more like a teal. It's like this color here. It's really nice. So I just want this one done so I can start on the others. But if I hadn't stopped working on this one back in January, I think it would have been done by now. Thing is, even if I do finish this, it probably won't get framed or anything. Or FFO'd, as it's called, for a while. I just don't know how to fully finish things. I'm a process stitcher, so like I like process stitching. I like working on projects. I just don't know what to do when I finish stitching and they're done. If they're gifts, it's a little different, because then you have to fully finish them so you can give them to the recipient. But when you're just working on it for yourself, it's like, like when I finish the birth samplers, I'll probably just go into a frame. And that'll be it. But for these sorts of things, I don't know. Because eventually I'll run out of wall space if I frame and hung every single piece that I work on. I'm gonna have no room left for anything. And I currently have a bunch of art prints on the wall from people that I'm a patron of. And I have more in a drawer in my desk because I don't know where else to put them. And I have more coming. And I'm like, oh, why would I do this to myself? I will hydrate in just a second, Maggie, once I've got this thread ready. I know it's a little early to be thinking about it, but I have a person in mind for us to go raid. Because today would have been a gaming stream. I only say that because they just went live. I need to get a bot in my Discord to do notifications, like not like the app ones where it notifies you like across the whole server, but in a channel that I have. So you can see when other people that I watch go live. Because I do watch quite a few people that we raid. Or who were taking part in the Craft Today, an event that happened back in July. Because the Me6 spot that I use. I'll have that drink. Sorry, I forgot. I'm having it now. Yeah, the Me6 spot I use, you have to subscribe to have it notified, to have it do all these other things. But I don't want to keep subscribing to things. Because when your card runs out, you have to change all your information again. So it gets a bit annoying. You have like 20 things. I'm not saying I have 20, that's just like a big guesstimation. The only things that don't change is like your direct debits. Because they come off your sort code and account number. Long number. That you have to put in. It changes every few years. So, and sometimes it's like expensive, like when you add up how much money you spend every month on all these subscription services, it does become quite expensive. But yeah, so Me6 would allow me, but like I said, subscription service. Carlbot would let me, but it doesn't work. If I go to add someone to the list, the page just 404s for some unknown reason. So I can't use Carlbot. There is another bot that I see some people use, so I might have to add that to the server. I just don't want too many bots in the server. I do need to remove Groovy though, because Groovy is no longer a thing. That was shut down. Yeah, I'll just do some research over the weekend. So if you're in the Discord and you see things come and go, that's why. Because I want to be able to have like a recommended tab basically in the Discord. So when I'm not streaming, you can watch other people that I would watch. Because I find them fun or interesting. They're my friend. Oh, and hopeful party piece. Thank you, Chris. Well, just sneaking on in. This is like, I mean, it's in the title. It's hot. But I do like this. my bots. Oh no, now I have competition for the raid. I don't even want it to raid, and now Loomy's just gone live. I'm going to work doing my chores or waiting for my computer to optimize. I got you on the big screen. Thank you for the love. I appreciate being on the big screen too. When is this the second time this song is played today? Unless this alternate version. My phone is just blowing up right now with all these Twitch notifications that these people are going live. It's fine. I'll probably work on this one more after stream as well, because well, I'll have something to wait after stream. I might continue with this. If I don't, I'll work on it tomorrow. Once I've done what I want to do. The admin side. I really need to post on Instagram and my cross-stitching Instagram. And I need to update my card. Or the cross-stitch on Instagram on there. I think I'm gonna buy a downloadable planner so I can keep myself a bit more organized. Is this brain just a disorganized mess? My filing cabinets filed away neatly. Every time I listen to the Kingdom Hearts music on this playlist, I want to play Kingdom Hearts. I have dilemmas. Maybe I'll do the admin stuff tonight. Then that frees up my weekend. Because Sunday is my birthday. I don't want to work on my birthday. So when I next stream again, which will be Monday, I will be a year older. So maybe for Monday's stream, I'll put a hat on my avatar and confetti and stuff. I don't know. This playlist really wants me to play Kingdom Hearts. Just throw all the Kingdom Hearts songs at me. Be the last one for the day. You can kind of see, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but with my eyes, I can see a difference in colour in the thread. It's the same skein. It's not been left in the sun. Neither the thread nor the fabric. But I can see a notable difference. Like, this is kind of where we started today. Like, this is what was stitched before. I could see a difference in colour. I wonder if I had too much thread wax on this one. Or my tension might have been different, because like I said, it was on a scroll frame. The dress is coming together though. just got a big bosom. Because it doesn't stop here, it goes out a bit more. Probably comes out to about here. And then her tail sits around here. Will be in like solid stitching like this again, not the missing bits. So it's like confetti. Now I said that this is the last one of the day you're playing up. Stop it. Oh my god. Fine, I'll thread it the other end. There we go. Be difficult. Oh, I didn't actually take that. There we go. At 328. face. So Foxy. Still got quite a bit to go. Because like I said, she has a big bosom. This fox is thick, seeing as her tail comes up here. Again, she's got like tiny stumpy legs. She's a Pixar woman. Booty. She's bootylicious. She's got booty for days. Either that or she's just got a very big I don't know what they're called. They're like gridded. things that they put under skirts to make you look bigger than you are. Before they put the underskirt on. Because that's why back in the day they found it so hard to walk. Because they have this giant metal undercarriage. To make you like they have a big bum. She's making out it's a petticoat, but we know she just speak. Yeah. That's what we're going with. She's just pretending. Probably get another row or two out of this thread, and then I'll be calling it there today, because I am hungry. But I will be back Monday with Luby Sound, as I call it. It's actually the Stitcher Light Sound, but I call it the Lumi Sound because it was made by Lumi Celine, who I think is who we're going to be raiding today. I don't know what she's doing. I know she's probably going to be stitching, but I don't know what. And then, yeah, I'll be back Monday, like I said. So I'm just forgetting how words and sentences work. Don't worry about me. And then Wednesday is Witchy Stitcher. Because we still got finish the Siren. A new part's just been released. So like, and then I don't know what I'm doing next Friday. I feel like I want to finish Resident Evil 2, well, Claire's part. But we'll see. See how I feel. If we finish the Lumi Sao before the next part is released, I might bring this back in between. As well. We'll see. But I do enjoy working on this, and I can't believe the last time I touched this was in January. I feel like this would have been done by now if it wasn't. There we go. Let me just count how many rows that was, because I don't think I marked more. We did 387 stitches, so we got about... Where did we start? We nearly did a whole section because we nearly came back up to where we started today. I think it was around here where we started. Oh, off frame. Here's where we started, I think. We've done all that. If this was just solid, I think we would have got more. But yeah. So let's see. I'm going to switch to the stream ending screen and we're going to see what Lumi's up to. What is she up to? What's she working on? She's working on her Sao. I'm gonna go raid Lumi, who's working on her Sao. So here's the raid command. And give her a sub. This is the sub raid. I say this every time, but the bot's not subbed, so the raid actually looks like this. And we are going to head off to the button. I'm gonna head off and raid. I want to thank you all for being here. Even if you only lurked, I appreciate every single one of you. And like I said earlier, I'll be back Monday with the Lumi Sao. So you want to see the same part that I'm working on, then you can watch Lumi right now. Let's just start this raid. Yeah, I will see you Monday. Goodbye, everyone.